right, so welcome, Alex, to a very special episode of the Financial Intelligence Podcast. And we got Alex today, and Alex himself is a podcaster, and he's actually hosts the show, the Business, Wealth, and Mindset Podcast. He's also a property investor. He's also someone who loves to share his knowledge and help people. He's even written a book as well, The Business Path to Wealth Creation. So we got quite a bit to talk about. So welcome, Alex, and introduce yourself, and then maybe just tell us maybe like your backstory.
Thank you very much, Weston. It's a pleasure to be here, to speak to you and share some, bits with the audience here. So it's good to be here. So, my background. So, in a nutshell, my background is corporate, actually, as far as professional and qualifications is concerned. So, I'm a chartered accountant by profession. Qualified with one of the top 4 accountancy firms, Deloitte, and then after that I did worked in the banking profession, investment banking. Started off with RBS or in those old days, and then moved to one of the big US investment banks, JPMorgan. But then in the background, I always had an eye to entrepreneurship. So I started investing in property and building a portfolio with that. And then as we developed over time and developed the experience, we found that there was a lot of people who were looking to do the same. So we actually, me and my brother, we developed a hands-free property investing solution for people, which essentially means we provide sort of a sourcing, refurb, and letting so that people can actually do armchair or hands-free property investing with us. But that was just on the way to actually helping me to follow my passion, which is, like you mentioned, knowledge sharing. So that sort of comes through my podcast, which you mentioned that I do. So we bring various inspirational people to come and share their challenges, their successes, the things that have helped them, so that those stories can actually inspire others as well. And, you yourself, Royce, and you've been on our podcast and shared your amazing story as well. And then the book that I've written as well. So yeah, for me, everything and anything, inspiration, because inspiration is the one that is permanent. Motivation is short-lived, but there's things that you can do to get yourself motivated when you're facing challenges. But when you listen and you see and you hear stories of people that have maybe followed a similar path to you, you can sort of resonate with that and pick inspiration that can actually help you to break through into success as well. So that's almost like where I am now. But I can talk about my background as well, where I come from, my humble beginnings.
Wow. Yeah, so Alex, so that's quite a nice introduction to yourself, really all around there. And of course, as you said, it'd be great to share your background, because oftentimes people they hear okay, wow, from corporate, banking, investing, but they don't know where you came from. They don't know okay, well, so maybe if you can go back a little bit, but when you talk about your background, maybe if you can just put a spill on it to say, well, what did you learn about investing when you were growing up? What did you learn about money management when you were growing up? So maybe you can talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to share. So, I'm originally from Malawi. This is this tiny, it's called the warm heart of Africa, in the southern part of Africa. So, surrounded by, we've got Zambia, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe. It's in that region, south, down south near South Africa. I grew up in it was a family of 5 of us, and 3 girls and 2 boys. I was the second born in the family. So typically, most of some of your audience will know, Africa is not the richest of countries, and Malawi is actually one of the poorest countries as well. So everything is a challenge. My parents didn't actually, come from, well-to-do family. So, we had to dig deep. So, like anything, wherever you grow up, that's what you know. Life
Yes.
is hard, you graft, everyone around you is doing the same. So the main thing that, was instilled in us about what can actually empower us was, to work hard in school and do your
Yes.
education, because that's the main route that can actually help you to break through into, whatever you want to do. So do well in school, work hard. So there was a lot of competition about that. That's because that's the only piece that we could pitch each
Mhm.
other about, who can do well at school and those kind of things. So I was, technically one of the, the best students, studying well and working hard in school. So I did my primary school. And then just for a little bit of the history of Malawi, for those who may know, in those days, it used to be ruled by a guy called Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. So he was, you have a lot of dictators in Africa. So he was,
Yes.
quite a dictator. He was ruling the country as the last president, but he had gotten English education. He got a doctorate from here, studied in Scotland and all of that. So the one of the great things about him was his ethics, and also how he understood the value of education, and that was key. So he built this academy in the middle of the bush, in
Wow.
one of the districts in Malawi, and actually modeled it on Eton College. Yeah, so he
Wow.
actually brought English teachers. He never allowed in his time for any Africans or Malawians to actually teach there. Everything was modeled, including the uniform, the bow ties, everything that he wore, and the food and everything. And he wanted to educate the top, like the cream of Malawi, to actually study English style education. And this was to be based on merit, not your means to be able to pay. So it was, of course, a very prestigious school. I mean, out of hundreds and thousands of students every year from primary school, they would, through a selection process, they would select only 80 students to go and study here. So, luckily I was one of those
Well
students
done. Well
who got
done. Well done.
selected to study at this school, through the hard work and everything. But you can understand a school like that, once you study, because the curriculum was all English, GCSEs and A levels, and you study classics as well, like Greek and Latin. So it was
Wow.
very out of place in Africa, but great for actually those who would get the advantage to study. So I went to that school and I did my GCSEs and A levels as well. And unfortunately, tragedies that happen for a lot of kids in Africa. My parents passed away when I was quite young, both of them. So that was quite a big challenge as well.
Yes. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Now it had to be myself and my siblings to sort of fend for ourselves. Of
Wow.
course, you have family and other people around who will help, but in the end, they have problems and families of their own to look after as well. So it was in those moments you start thinking that, I have to really, work hard to make the best of what I can do with my situation. So yeah, I worked hard at the school, and then I managed to, after my A levels, to get a scholarship actually to study in Cyprus, of all places.
Yes. It's a
Because I
lovely
was,
place, actually. I've been there.
yeah,
I've been there. It's quite a lovely place. As a matter of fact,
brilliant.
Cyprus was actually ruled by the English up until recently, and
Yes,
the
yeah.
roads, and I mean, I think it has mixed culture
Yeah,
with
it's got mixed. It's got like the Greek and
the Greek. Exactly,
the northern
exactly.
part was invaded by the Turks in the
So,
70s,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's
But
mixed culture, but a
yeah,
lovely place. Very hot as well. Anyway,
it's
yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, it's a brilliant place,
yeah,
So
go.
yeah, I managed
Yeah.
to find myself there because I was like a classic scholar as well. So
Yes.
went there, Greek mythology, but then I started to move into economics and accounting. So that's where I started my SCCA as well.
Ah,
Accounting. I
wow.
started accounting. And yeah, after a few years there, I stayed there about 4 years and then moved to England to actually get the practical experience to qualify as a chartered accountant, because I was, one of the top
Amazing.
accountancy firms, I managed to get in. And partly because I actually, scored, like I was the third top prize in the final exams. Yeah,
Is
for the
this
top
year?
students, they do. Yeah, in the SCCA, they give your gold, silver, and bronze.
Yes.
So I managed to get the bronze in SCCA exams, which is
Wow.
quite an achievement.
That's
The first,
amazing.
the first African student apparently to ever get a prize of some sort.
Man, you've done well. You've done well.
Yeah, so that was that was good, and then that obviously opened up opportunities to work here with the top accountants firms, and then with that, I was able to move into investment banking. But again, for me, the mindset had always been
Yes.
questioning how I can achieve financial and the time freedom actually to live life on my terms. So with that mindset, there's always things happening. Of course, I'm working, I'm in the day job, having a good job and working, everything sort of seemingly going okay. But always I'm thinking, what is it that I can do to actually get myself that financial and time freedom so that I can live life on my terms? So various things, would pop up. I would try to engage in things until one day I look found a newspaper on the train going into London, because I was living in St. Albans at the time in Hertfordshire, and they were advertising these like free evenings where you would have like 3 hours of property information for property training. I think some people probably resonate or
Yes,
understand
yes,
that.
yes, of course.
Yeah, so I just went out to one of these evenings just to understand more, because generally for most people, when we talk about property, it's all about big monies, it's only for the rich and all of that, which, to some extent is true. But then in this, it was championing that you can actually do property without needing the money.
Your own money, yeah.
Yeah, you can use other people's money. So I become curious about how, that is done. So from there on, understanding what they did, of course, I ended up buying some courses, because that's essentially
What you do?
where I ended up to, and I invested in my knowledge in that space, and
Wow.
ended up doing quite well in that, because I really focused. My vision was tuned into that. So I developed the knowledge and the experience, started building a property portfolio, and then once I consolidated that knowledge, I found that I could actually help other people as well to do joint ventures in a way that they are using their money, and they can use my knowledge with joint venture value each side, and it's a win-win scenario. So with that's what helped me to build this hands-free property investing for people. So we source the deals, we do the refurb because of the experience and the power team that we have, and then we build a lettings agency as well to manage all our staff and have everything in-house, as it were. So that whole thing enabled me to, get that time and financial freedom to actually be able to do the stuff that I like and enjoy,
Yes.
that I'm passionate about, which is the knowledge sharing with people, showing them the path that can actually help them to do the same as well.
Amazing, amazing. Alex, your story is like, as I was listening to you, I resonate a lot with your story. A lot of stuff, that you have done, I have done, that's coming from the Caribbean and coming from really humble background and going to school and excelling. Actually, I was a valedictorian in my school. And it's just so much stuff that you talk about, that really resonates with me. The one thing I think that really came out at me, and I think I try to show people this as well, is that you can really elevate yourself by educating yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can choose to educate yourself, not necessarily on formal education, but like you said, you actually did a property course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I'm going to ask you in terms of your investing, well, in education, just as a ballpark, how many courses would you say you have done? And would you say that you could have built your property portfolio if you did not do the courses? Like when you look back, would you say that, okay, those courses really helped you? And any monies you spent, would you say it was really worth the money?
Absolutely. I mean, I always look back to, for those, some of your listeners may have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where Robert
Yes.
Kiyosaki talks about the cash flow quadrant, where
Yeah.
you've got like employees and self-employed, big business and investors. And the key message to that for me is that the mindset that is required in each of those is very different.
Very
Yeah.
different. Correct.
Absolutely very different. So I realized earlier on that if I take the mindset that maybe investing in my knowledge and development is expensive, or I can't afford it, or
Yeah.
I can't do it, I wouldn't have done and purchased those courses. But I understood that for me to be in a different zone, I had to do something else, and the courses were absolutely the game changer for me. And the key difference in the mindset here was that you're investing in something which, to some extent, you have a vision of what it's going to get you in terms of
Yes.
results, but it's not guaranteed in a way. So you are in a different zone. It's different to being in a day job. You're going to get your paycheck every month and it's stable and all of that. But in here, you're just trusting your instinct and your vision that it's going to work, and you're putting a lot of money into it. And that's where you get the inspiration to look at other people who are achieving the same that
Yes.
you're targeting. And these courses and the mentors were absolutely a game changer, because they just put you in the zone. I mean, like they say, your network is your net worth. As long as you start networking and aligning yourself with the right people who are going in the
Man,
same
that is so
direction,
powerful. That is
that's
so
that's
powerful. I
that's
mean,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, they actually say that you are the average of the five people around you. That's the next way of saying it, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
if you hang around with winners, you become a winner. Now,
Yeah,
interestingly, for the property world, you obviously mentioned Robert Kiyosaki. It's a great book. I read it as well. I
yeah.
mean, would you say that you modeled anyone? Who was your so like, did you have a mentor or someone you modeled in the property world before you actually start to execute on the knowledge that you learned?
Yeah, I did actually. I mean, because in property there's a number. Certainly here in the UK, there's a number of big property gurus, the likes
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Simon Zichu and Rob Moore. But
Yes, yes. Samuel
Rob
Leeds.
Moore,
Yeah,
yeah, Rob Moore was one of the key ones for me, because
he's good. He's good.
yeah, so I could see what they had achieved, and their training programs as well
Yeah,
were so much aligned to the things that I wanted to do. And there was a clear path in terms of what you could do, because every business, everything that you do, there's risk involved, and nothing is easy,
of course, of course.
but if you have a blueprint and a plan to say,
Yes,
I'm gonna, on a day-to-day basis, I'm gonna do A, B, C, D, and on a monthly basis, I want to do this, and on a quarterly basis, I want to do this, and in 2-3 years, I want to be here. Then you have a blueprint and a plan to work with,
of
so
course.
your vision is clear. But without that clarity, that's where people end up with overwhelmed. They have no direction. They don't know where to go. They find things hard and they drop them. They go and find something else. So these courses help to grind me into a direction and a path to actually understand the psychology of it, that it's going to be tricky and difficult in places, but if your mind, which tries to pull you back into your comfort zone, if you listen to that, then you're not going to get to where you need to be, because this is where the 95% of people end up. They claw back to the comfort zone, and that's essentially how we are programmed as people. As long as our survival instincts or something is challenged and threatened, our mind, the amygdala, is actually programmed to bring us back to base, to our comfort zone. And that, your comfort zone is not where success lies. Your comfort zone lies outside of that. So mindset has been quite a big
Big
sort of
part, a big part.
yeah,
Yeah, and actually,
part
and that
of
makes sense because your podcast is obviously called Business Wealth and Mindset Podcast.
mindset. Yeah,
My podcast
absolutely.
is called Financial Intelligence Mindset Podcast. You know what I mean?
brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about like your, if you can call it your money story, your money journey. I mean, have you made any big money mistakes or investing mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, investing is it's like anything, it's a learning process. So, but one of the key things that I did, because I had that understanding, because mistakes, you can learn from them, or they can ruin you, and you can quit, or do something that you don't want to do. But also you can actually leverage from other people's mistakes. So
Yes.
earlier on, when I was actually doing the courses, part of the reason of doing that is so that I could eliminate some of the mistakes that I could do by going it alone, So leverage is key as well. So in my journey, I mean, there have been some mistakes I've done around maybe purchasing stuff that I would look to do planning, and then I don't get it. And then in the end, I'm having to wait longer than I had planned to actually realize. The good thing with the property is in the long term, it can be a bit forgiving,
Yes, yes.
But yeah, there's been things that I could have done differently. But some of the key things that I didn't get to make those mistakes is because I had leveraged the mentorship of people who had already been in the game, made those mistakes so that I didn't have to make them.
Yes, and that's a common thing. And that's a common thing that, I mean, that's one of the things that we do as an online educator. I even see it on my my webinars. I said, why spend the most amount of time and get the least result when you can spend the least amount of time and get the most result? And the way you actually do that is by working with someone who has already walked the path that you are looking to walk, have made the mistakes that you're going to make. So even though it might cost you to invest in a program, eventually it costs you much less than having to make mistakes. You know what I mean? So that's really powerful. So okay. So if someone is starting out right now in properties, they're just starting out, they want to start out. I know maybe UK property market, it's been going up recently, I guess, with incentives from government as well, some duty breaks. I mean, the property price seems to, if you want to call it, every 10 years, it seems to almost like double, right? So someone is looking to invest in properties, right, in UK right now, or maybe they're listening, people listen to this podcast in Africa, in different countries, in the USA, they want to get into properties. What are some of the kind of the basic first steps would you say that they should follow?
Yeah, so the first thing is to realize that in property investing, there is basically three main things that you need. So the first is the time, and the second is I would call the knowledge or the experience, and the third is the money. If you have all these three, you can go it alone, just maybe invest in some training, but you can buy a property and start investing like that. But the majority of us, or most people, don't have all these three. That's why they're looking to actually get. But if you don't have these three, then what happens? You can look into what is it that you have that you can bring to the table, and then you can actually work with other people. That's the whole concept.
That is true. I like that. Time, knowledge, money. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, if you don't have the money, there will be someone out there who has the money, but they don't have the time to actually look into it. So you can use your time to invest in the knowledge, and you can source the deals for them. Then you get either sourcing fees, or even do joint ventures with them. If you can manage, if you have the experience, you can manage the projects and put the whole package together. People will invest, and you do joint ventures. And this is the stuff that I've done quite a few times. But just like, we've spoken before, Royston, about everything also, rests on your big reason why, because that gets to be the driver of where you actually get to. What is your main big reason why you want to get into business or property or anything like that? And you have a great thing that you you ask that people should think, is it the seven step
Yeah,
deep?
seven levels deep, seven levels
Yes,
deep, seven levels deep.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I start with, I mean, it's some, I different, like you, I've invested in different courses and I taken away some of the tools and training that they've had in those courses and I use them for people as well, because I paid money for it, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned a lot of stuff that's really fundamental for people looking to grow their business or invest, right?
Yeah,
Number one, you said, have a vision.
yeah,
Have a
absolutely.
vision. And a vision, I go even further and I say visualize.
Yeah,
See yourself achieving the success.
yeah,
Like if you want to go into properties, see yourself being a property investor.
yeah,
Picture yourself partnering with certain people, you know what I mean? But going back to what you're saying in terms of time, knowledge, money, why do you want to go into properties?
yeah,
Don't just
exactly.
say because I want to make more money. Why do you want to make more money?
Yeah,
I want to help my family. Why do you want to invest in properties to help your family? Because there's other things that you can just keep going down until you really get that ultimate reason, that driver. Because I
yeah,
always say the bigger your why, the bigger
yeah,
your drive. I mean, you knows this, right? Like coming from Africa, I'm from the Caribbean. You know that as you said, education was one of the kind of things that was, taught to us, like we should educate ourselves
yeah,
highly. But you know that gratitude is something that's really big, right? When as you said, like you lost your parents, etc., and you had a family, so you had to pull together, and you
yeah,
had to some extent, you had a driver now to even though that you lost them, still make them proud.
yeah,
So so
absolutely.
now you have a reason not to give up,
Yeah.
but to push through. I think a lot of people that lack that why.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Because when you lack that, just like you've said, you lack that drive or inspiration. Because when the challenges come in business, and they will come,
They always come.
you're not gonna last the course because you will
No,
just see it as being difficult, or you can't do this and you drop. But when your reason is strong enough and it's a burning desire, it's not just a desire, but it's burning, you're not even gonna be clouded by the challenges. In some cases, they actually feel like a joy to
a
tackle.
joy because you expect
Exactly.
them. You expect them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
as Eric Thomas, one of the guys I listen to, he says in his motivational speeches, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breed, then you'll be successful. I mean, that
Yeah,
is like deep.
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
when you wanted to get into the properties as bad as you want to eat when you are hungry,
Yeah.
then you'll get into property
Absolutely.
because you will.
Because yeah,
Cause,
because what happens is when you face those challenges, the way you perceive them, ignites that creative genius in you to find actually solutions for those problems. Because they say man is at his greatest creativeness when faced with challenges, and
correct.
you only have to take this pandemic, the COVID pandemic, how great things and great thinking of ways of doing things have come about is because of challenge. People have
Yeah,
pivoted their businesses. They found new ways of doing things and all of that creativeness. So we're at our most creative when we are faced with challenge. Yeah.
correct.
But if your vision
Yeah.
is not burning enough, you're not gonna see that. Because it's not aligned to a big desire of yours.
Yeah. And actually, you mentioned desire. I mean, there's so many other good books. I mean, like in Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. It's about your desire, and it says
Yeah.
think and grow rich. So you have to think about it. You have to want it. You have
Yeah.
to vision it. You have to desire it. Then you have to go after it. But because your desire is so strong, you will go after it. Man, this is so fundamental to the whole mindset game, right?
Yeah.
I always say to people that wealth is a matter of managing your emotion. Because if you really want it and you really purpose it in your life, I think that you can achieve it. Of course, there's obstacles, but you can achieve it. So let me ask you, Alex, in terms of like your big money success. I mean, I know you do properties and you do that kind of stuff. Maybe you can tell us about something that went really well for you, and you thought, yes, this investment was worth it. this investment in knowledge was worth it? Maybe you can
Yeah.
just tell us about one, maybe, I don't know, one good deal or one good something that went really well for you.
Yes, actually, I've had a couple of big property deals. Again, all comes back to, once you develop the knowledge, you have like an eye of what is a good opportunity and not good opportunity. Just like in the book, the richest man in Babylon, when they
Yes.
discuss about the goddess of good luck, whether actually luck exists. Like do people just get lucky in certain things? And it actually just talks about not necessarily. It's just a formula. It's you can even link it to science.
Yes.
It's a mix of your preparedness, because once you're
Preparation.
prepared, you can identify opportunities when they
Of
come.
course,
So
preparation meets opportunity. Yeah, that's luck,
yes,
right?
absolutely. So there was this deal. It was just a standard piece of a house that was up for sale, and it had it was sitting on an L shape with just another piece of land on the side. And for me, I could see immediately it's just a normal house, but there's a great potential to actually build another house on the side next to it.
Yes.
And it looks like most people probably couldn't see of it because of where it was sitting and all of those kind of things. So I ended up buying it just as a normal house. Did a bit of research and ended up applying for planning to build another house next to it. And the whole project, because we converted this into HMOs, the whole
Wow.
project, by the time we packaged it and refinanced it, we ended up walking away with all the money that we invested plus 80 grand on top.
Wow.
So
That
we managed to flip that as a 50-50. But it goes back to show that once you have that knowledge and you know what you can do with certain things and you package them,
yes.
you present this to someone who has the money because you've got the time and the experience. The investor who looked at this, it was a no-brainer. I had it to even pitch 3 or 4 and pick the best one because it was just so valuable to them to do the project. And that was one of the successes. We've had quite a few of those. We've had NHS offices we converted into flats. But once you build that knowledge, it builds into confidence, it builds into your value and your brand, and that is just as valuable as anything that people might have, including money itself. So
and there's always a bit of momentum, right? Once you kind of once you do one good deal and you say, wow, as you said, you buy, you restructure, you build, you refurbish, you sell, you flip, as I said, you get some profit. You're thinking, wow, no, you have a bit of
a bit of momentum.
A bit of like a feeling of, let's look around for a next even better deal, you know what I mean, or similar deal or good deal, So that's really, really good. Cool. So I mean, in terms of just generally as a property investor managing money, because I always like to share tips with people about managing money, because obviously I would imagine that you have to manage your cash flow quite a bit. And I guess being an accountant, that came natural for you. I mean, but would you say that being an accountant helped you to manage your money better, or would you say that you still had to learn as an investor how to manage your money?
I think obviously, being an accountant and understanding some basics about finances, has its own advantages. But knowing what I know people who are not accountants and they can just manage their money even better than myself or anyone. So there is a certain basics that you have to understand about money. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing. Understand even some key metrics of
metrics, correct.
What is happening, and that is quite key. Otherwise, you could just be working hard on something that is actually draining you or even losing you money as well, which wouldn't work. But the key message is also that you don't have to do that yourself. Where we talk about where your skills lie, and leverage as well. So you can
leverage knowledge, leverage other people.
So, if it's an area, obviously it's an area that's key and that's crucial for a business. But if you don't have the skills and things, you can leverage that with an accountant who's passion and they every day they breathe accounting and metrics and things, and they can do that for your business. But you have to understand and identify that it is a critical part of your business and find people who can actually, you can leverage to do that so that you can concentrate on the key result areas of your business, the areas that you're best at and which generate you the most outcomes in terms of money.
It makes full sense. I mean, it's all back to the whole principle of specialization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do what you're good at, or also what you're not so good at. Some people even say, like, hire someone who is smarter than you in a particular area, you know, and pay them, manage them, and you know, build your business. Wow. Okay, so we're coming to wrap up now. So Alex, so let me ask you, I've asked everyone on this who come on this podcast this question. What does the term financial intelligence means to you?
So for me, financial intelligence, I guess it's just that cutting edge understanding of the bits that you need to know, which maybe other people don't grasp as well, but are quite crucial to your success. Yeah, it's that intelligence. It's almost like when you go deep into it, it's like a sixth sense in a way, which gives you that advantage above other people, because you know that intelligence. When you know certain things, it helps you even when either you're analyzing deals or doing things in your business. You just know that certain parts or certain tricks in your business, like if you know, like even like you're remortgaging and there's a difference of 1% in the interest rate or whatever, you can work out what will be the impact of that over
Yes,
period.
it makes
And
sense.
that can be quite crucial. You know, those small margins, the intelligence of the small differences, that can make a big impact to your knowledge and your results in a business. I think that intelligence.
Powerful. So it's kind of, from what you're saying, it's kind of, it's analyzing, it's having information, but looking at the information and having instinct or having intelligence as to know what does that mean. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is quite great. All right, man, Alex, man, you dropped some really good gems on here today, and I'm sure people who want to get in contact with you. I don't know if you have any courses or what do you do? I mean, where can people find you? How can people find you?
So I mean, the easiest way, they can find me on Facebook. Just go Alex Sapala and you'll find my name there. And also just simply alexsapala.com. They will find my website there as well, and it will take them to my social media. They can send me an email, drop me a message, and listen to my podcast, get to read my book as well, and just generally interact. I've also got an exclusive Facebook group called the BWM Masterminds Facebook group, which is the Business Wealth and Mindset Mastermind. So it's just a zone where we just share, inspirational messages and videos and podcasts and things, just to inspire people to success on a day-to-day basis, so that they keep to that path. When they have ups and downs, we can actually get to motivate people to keep them going so that they can break through into that success. So people can find me on social media and the website as well.
Wow. That's great, man. And do you have any courses that you offer, or you just
at the moment, everything is sort of exclusive. I don't sort of advertise. It's all like a word of mouth. If anyone thinks and believes that I've got something that I can offer of value to them, then come to me and we can talk, and it can all be bespoke. And
I like it. And I guess to some extent there's reasons for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But over time, I'm looking to develop an academy, which will be an online platform where actually we can have a lot of stuff that people can use as resources as well.
Yeah, which makes sense. And exactly what I'm actually building. I'm actually building up my own academy. I call it the FBI Academy, to talk about intelligence, finance, business, and investing academy, where I share finance knowledge, business knowledge, investing knowledge. And to some extent, some of these podcasts are all part of the academy, because actually is free knowledge, and it's knowledge with experts like yourself. I'm always looking for experts, and I actually met you. I must plug this. I actually met you by collaboration. Actually,
Yes,
I
absolutely.
met you, I guess, by being on Clubhouse and
Yeah,
meeting Sharon, who's a property
yeah,
investor, and Sharon saying,
absolutely.
"I think you guys should connect."
Yeah,
I was on your podcast, and now you're on my podcast. So I think I also want to say to people who are listening to this, there is real power in collaboration. And even though myself and
absolutely.
Alex might be doing similar things,
Mhm.
I think collaboration beats competition every day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Especially in these times now. Yeah, because going back to what you're talking, you mentioned Rob Moore, etc. Even in the same clubhouse, like you see, like Rob Moore and John Lee and
yeah.
Ed JC Smith, and all these people are on the same platform now
Done. Yeah, all
and just
those.
sharing knowledge.
Yeah,
So there is
absolutely.
real power in collaboration.
Mhm.
Look, Alex, man, we've been here going for a while. I want to say a massive thank you for
Yeah,
coming on, and I'm sure that the audience will get some gems from this. It's been a heartfelt pleasure. I know we tried to line it up sometime, but we managed to do it today, and I
absolutely.
really want to say thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure speaking to you as always, and for me, just like you mentioned, these networks, you build long-term relationships with people as well, and the benefits of that are just priceless. You can't put a price on that. So it's really a pleasure, speaking to you, Royston, and catching up, and I'm sure we're always in touch, and we'll
Of
talk.
course.
Absolutely a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.